So yeah, Brother Wooten, you know, based off of our last gathering when we were studying together and things like that, you know, we were on Abram and Joseph, learning about learning about, where we came from, you know, our people, and just learning about the book as a whole, you know, learning about Jehovah, gathering, and just seeking out of the book and reading. So, you know, anything you had gathered from the last study that we did?
I could say I am confidence from the last study that really has, pulling out, building up my confidence. I feel better after the last class. It was a matter of, guess that being the first one is like the fear of not knowing how it can turn out or which way it can go. But once we did do that, it was a great feeling after that. I had a lot of, my confidence rose a lot.
Beautiful. So what is confidence, my brother?
I would say confidence would be trust, desire, put trust in it, expectation, hope, faith, believing, assurance, risk, and certainty.
So yeah, beautiful. So all of that had, you said, boosted, like your confidence, you realized it had boosted based off of, you know, we going through the book, studying it, and, you know, being able to just get an understanding through precepts, right?
Right.
Cool, cool. So your trust had boosted, your hope, faith, belief had boosted, your assurance, and all of that, which fall under confidence, you said had increased, right?
Yes, it did.
Cool, man. That's beautiful. Yeah. Anything else you realize?
Well, I realized that, I realized that certain things where I doubted myself in doing that I'm able to do. And it's a matter of just actually doing it, getting out there trying it. Not let fear hold me back from taking this step and moving forward. I definitely learned to. I'm glad I did. It's a great learning tool, a great step, first step for me, and it's making me better the more I do this.
Right on. Okay. So we're going to look at some things based off of confidence. So the last time we spoke, it was about Abram and Joseph, in which we're going to look at some more things with them, and we're going to just dig into the book some more and get some more understanding through precepts. So what I got here, my brother, is Abram had trust and confidence in the Spirit of God. Why? Because when the Spirit of God appeared unto him, he did what the Spirit of God had spoken unto him. Do you know what this? Do you know what Abram had did? You know, when the Spirit of God appeared unto him and spoke to him.
What he had to do was he had faith in the Most High, and he just got everything that he just left his family. He got away from the teaching that his family had, the type of faith. It was false teaching that his family were doing and stuff. So he just put out his faith in the Most High and left away from that. He just walked away from all that.
Yes, sir. So Abram, by his faith and trust and hope, having that confidence in the Spirit of God, he didn't know exactly where he was going. You know, when the Spirit of God spoke to him, He didn't know like exactly where he was going. He just knew he had to depart. So when he was told to leave his country, kindred, and father's house, he trusted through a vision from the guide that he was going to be led in a righteous path. He had hope and faith in that which he could not see. For God, including his word, is spirit. So, my brother, we're going to look at Genesis chapter 12. We're going to read from verse 1 to 4.
Genesis 12, and from 1 to 4.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Want me to read that?
Yeah, you could read it.
Okay. Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Now the Spirit of God has said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country, and including from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And verse 2, I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Verse 3, I will bless them that bless thee, curse them that curse thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. And verse 4, so Abram departed as the Spirit of God had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abraham was 70 and 5 years old when he departed out of Haran.
Okay, cool. So, Abram, he was 75 years old when he departed?
Yes, it was.
Okay, cool. So, I just keep that in mind. So, this was not the only time that Abram trusted and believed in the Spirit of God. It was another time that he did. So, we can go to Genesis chapter 15, verse 1.
Okay, Genesis 15, and got it.
All right, so I read this one. It reads, after these things, the word of the Spirit of God came unto Abram in a vision, saying, fear not, Abram, I am thy shield, and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus? And Abram said, remember, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is my hire. Verse 4. And remember, the word of the Spirit of God came unto him, saying, this shall not be thine hire, but he that shall come forth out of thy own bowels shall be thine hire. And he brought him forth abroad, and said, look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Spirit of God, and he counted it him for righteousness. Verse 7. And he said unto him, I am the Spirit of God that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. So we see right here in verse 6, Abram believed in the Spirit of God. So we see in a pattern when it comes to Abram. He has that belief, because wasn't believing or having that belief a part of confidence?
Yes, it was.
Yes, sir. So now we gaining something about Abraham. You know what I'm saying? He was brought forth out of Ur of the Chaldees. We see that in verse 7. So the same way he was brought out of that land into another land, he had to have that confidence and that belief and trust in what the Spirit of God spoke to him in a vision. So as he was leaving, as he departed, he didn't know where he was going. He just had that hope and that which he could not see, because we know that's what hope is all about. We hope in that which we cannot see. The country, kindred, and father's house that Abram was told to leave was the Chaldees. He didn't bring forth himself from amongst them by himself. It was by the word. Neither did Abram make himself a great nation by himself. It was by the word that made him great. Abram was filthy from his lifestyle before he became Hebrew. And when Abram was a Chaldean, but then Abram became clean through the word which the Spirit of God has spoken unto him. The Spirit of God alone did what he had done and will continually do what he does without the help of any man or other gods. My brother, we're going to look at Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 6 and 7.
Chapter 9, 6 and 7. Got it.
All right, you can read that one.
Okay. Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 6 and 7. Thou, even though art, which is perfection and beauty, the Spirit of God alone, thou hast made heaven, the heaven of heavens, with all thy hosts, the earth, including all things that are therein, the seas, and all that is in it. You want to reread that? And the seas and all that is therein. Thy present.
Yeah, preserve us.
Thou preservest them all. The hosts of the heaven worship thee. Verse 7. Thou art our perfection and beauty, the Spirit of God, thy God, who does choose Abraham, brought him forth out of Ur of the Chaldees, and gave him the name of Abraham.
All right, cool. So, my brother, we see that in verse 6, it's the Spirit of God alone that did these things, right?
Right.
So, okay, we see that Abram, he didn't bring himself out from what he was brought out of by himself. We see in verse 7, it says, the Spirit of God chose Abram and brought him forth out of Ur of the Chaldees. And you know, Abram was made Abraham, same person. We're going to go to Joshua chapter 24. Verse 2 and 3.
Just a second. Okay, got it.
Okay, I'm going to read it. It says, Joshua chapter 24, verse 2. And Joshua said unto all the people, Thus said the Spirit of God of Israel, your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time. Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nachor, and they served other gods. Verse 3. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood. So we see right here, bro, Abraham was took from the other side of the flood, from where his father served other gods. We see that in verse 2. You know, the father of Abraham and the father of Nahor, they served other gods. So Abraham, he was took from the other side of the flood and led him throughout all the land of Canaan and multiplied his seed and gave him Isaac. So we still getting information on, you know, Abraham, what he was brought out of. You know, he came from Chaldees, and, you know, he was brought forth from the other side of the flood where they was all worshiping those idols. And like you said earlier, the false teachings. And that's what you had got from the last study we had did together based off of gathering the information that, you know, he was brought forth out of his country, father's house, and amongst his people from them learning about false doctrine. So Abraham, which was Abram at the time, you know, was learning about false doctrine. And then the Spirit of God right here in Joshua had brought him from the other side of the flood. So we're going to see what that flood is about. So Abraham was led by the Spirit of God, the guide, from his father's house, whom served other gods, idols, and images. They were believing and having trust in what they could see and touch. Abraham was brought forth from those waters and the flood of doctrines and beliefs. Those that are on the other side of the flood are those that are in the many waters. These are the Chaldeans that are in the land of Chaldea. The reason Abram became Hebrew is because he passed over when he departed from what he is a descendant of. The other side of the flood is where the serpent is, and his split tongue speaks of mixed knowledges and doctrines that are false. He is a deceiver. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Spirit of God had made. So based off of that flood, we're going to look at Revelation chapter 12 and verse 15.
Okay. Revelation 12 and 15. Got it.
All right, go ahead, my brother.
All right. Including the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he may cause her to be carried away of the flood.
All right, so keep in mind, we having dialogue, so we going to chop it up. Question,
All right.
you know what that woman is?
Oh, yes, that's the spirit woman. So it was the water as the flood after the spirit.
So that bring it a little bit more closer. So this serpent we know is a split-tongued beast, correct?
Correct.
So water as a flood is coming out of his mouth. It's going.
There's a false knowledge coming out of his mouth.
Yes, sir. Yep. So that flood is that the many waters, you know, of that knowledge, the many knowledges that he using, mixing his doctrine with other doctrines, which is all false. So when we had read, you still got your finger on Joshua 24?
Joshua 24. Let me get back to it right quick.
Okay. Yeah, it was verse 3. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood. Okay, we just read in Revelation that the serpent cast out of his mouth a flood, right?
Correct.
So the other side of the flood is from where it's originating from, which is coming from the serpent. So the way I'm seeing it, if I'm standing in front of someone that is speaking false doctrine, The flood is coming after me. It's coming towards me, after my spirit, after the woman. The other side of the flood is where it is originating from, which is out of the mouth, from that serpent. So Abraham was brought from the other side of the flood, from all of those teachings which were false, like you said earlier. So the other side of the flood is coming towards the woman, but it's originating from the split-tongued beast. You got it?
Got it.
We're going to look at Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Spirit of God had made, including, he said unto the Spirit, yeah, have God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? You know, the trees are elders. The elders of the garden. Oh, I'm going to read that last part again. It says, ye shall not learn of every tree of every elder of the garden.
Yes, sir. So the serpent right here, he casting his flood after the woman. That's what we were just reading in Revelation. And he doing it real subtle. You know, he doing it skillfully. So you see he asking the question. So it's not that he taking away of what God had told the woman, the spirit. You see how he's saying it. Yea, has God said you should not learn of every elder of the garden? So, you know, he's making that spirit talk, which she wasn't even supposed to go near it or touch it or join herself unto it. So the serpent is casting out of his mouth this knowledge, comparing as a flood after the woman. So, you know, when we do more studies and we read more Genesis chapter 3, we'll see what takes place between the serpent and the woman. So we're going to go back on Abram's journey. We're going to look at Genesis chapter 14.
Okay.
Verse 12 and 13.
Got it.
All right, you can read it.
Okay. Including, they took Lot, Abraham, brother's son, who dwelled in Sodom, his goods, and departed. And there came one that had escaped, told Abram, the Hebrew.
Okay, cool.
The Hebrew, one that crossed over.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So Abram was the Hebrew that passed over from them false teachings. All of what we just read about.
Right.
So I'm just getting more information, and you know, we reiterating from when we were together the last time talking about this, of the reason Abram became Hebrew is because he passed over when he departed from what he was descended of. So he was taken from the other side of the flood, in which the serpent cast out of his mouth waters as a flood. So he was departing from all of the false doctrine and the teachings and the many waters of mixed knowledges. That is all false. So Abram, he had escaped, just as right here in verse 12, they departed also and had escaped. And Abram did the same thing. He had escaped and departed from out of that mixed doctrine. We're going to go to Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1.
verse 1. Got it.
Okay, so we still talking about the confidence and the faith and trust that Abram had in the Spirit of God. So we're going to bounce around in this chapter. We're going to go from verse 1, then we're going to go to verse 8, then we're going to go to verse 6, then we're going to go to verse 9.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to read it. It says, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Verse 8. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed. And he went out, not knowing whither he went. Verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please him, to please God. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Verse 9. By faith he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. Verse 10. For he looked for a city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. Verse 13. So this talking about, those that had died in faith. So since we talking about Abraham, just keep in mind verse 13 is talking about Abram. Abraham, he died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. So Abraham, he confessed that he was a stranger and a pilgrim in the earth. He knew that this wasn't the final destination of, where he was going to have eternity at. So he had faith in that which he could not see. Because we know that in verse 1, it speaks about that. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So he crossed over, becoming a Hebrew from worshiping idols and gods, just as what his father Terah did, worship gods, idols, the things that you can see. So he once was hoping and trusting in things he can see with his bodily eyes, physical, tangible things. But we know since God is the spirit and we hope in God and his word, we following after that which we cannot see. So that's where our trust got to be in, the things that we cannot see. So by faith, in verse 8, Abraham, he did what he had did, and he obeyed, not knowing where he was going to go. He just trusted and believed and counted it for righteousness of what God was telling and speaking unto him. So, bro, we're going to look at the comparison of Hebrews like we did last time with Joseph. Because we know Abraham was a Hebrew and Joseph was a Hebrew. So we're going to look at a comparison between the two on their trust and faith. So we're going to go to Genesis chapter 37.
Genesis chapter 37. Okay.
All right, so go ahead and read verse 3 and 4.
Genesis chapter 37, verse 3 and 4. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of, start that over again. Because he was the son of old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. Verse 4. Including when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him, could not speak peaceably unto him.
Okay, so we see with Joseph, he was promised more by Israel. You know, Israel being Jehovah's servant. So, you know, that promise was to Joseph. You know, more than all of his other brethren, he had received that promise. And, you know, his brethren couldn't stand him. They hated him. They couldn't speak peaceably unto him. And we remember when we spoke about Dan, how Dan was that serpent.
Right.
And, you know, Joseph departed just as, you know, we got to depart from those teachings and the falsities of those ways. We're going to go to same chapter, verse 26 through 28.
Okay, got it.
All right, you go ahead.
All right, Genesis chapter 38, verse 26 and 28. It says, and Judah acknowledged them, saying, she had been more righteous
Hold on.
than
My bad, my brother. Genesis chapter 37.
37. Okay.
We're going to read verse 26 through 28.
All right, Genesis chapter 37, verse 26 through 38. 26 through 28. And it reads, and Judah said unto his brother, what profit is it if we slay our brother, conceal his blood? And that was the question he was asking. Verse 27, come, let us sell him to the Israelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, our flesh. His brother were content. Verse 28. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they lift up Joseph out of the pit. Sold Joseph to the Ishmaelite for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph to Egypt.
Okay. We going to come back to this, so keep your finger there. But you got to pull up the Apocrypha. We're going to go to Wisdom of Solomon. Chapter 10, verse 13. When the righteous was sold, she forsook him not, but delivered him from sin. She went down with him into the pit. Verse 14. And left him not in bonds, till she brought him in the scepter of the kingdom, and power against those that oppressed him. As for them that had accused him, she showed them to be liars, and gave him perpetual glory. So the reason this was brought up is talking about when the righteous was sold in verse 13. You see that?
Yes, I do.
When we go to Genesis 37 and 28, who was sold?
Okay, Joseph was sold.
Okay, Joseph was sold, because it reads right here, after the full thought, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. So when the righteous was sold, wisdom then forsake him, because he was what? He was righteous. You know, he wasn't doing anything malicious. It was his brethren that hated him. So, you know, Judah spoke up right there in verse 26. He was asking that question: what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? And then in verse 27, it say, come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites. So it was the righteous that was sold.
Right.
Joseph, being a Hebrew, one that passed over. Wisdom never forsook him because he never forsook wisdom. Even through what he was going through with his own family, his own brethren that sought to do these wicked, malicious acts towards him, in which they did. You know, they did what they had done. They were the wicked ones. So Joseph, he trusted and believed still in the Most High God, who pulled him from the many waters, just as Abraham the Hebrew was pulled out of the many waters, crossed over into a path of righteousness. Joseph did the same thing. So we're gonna look at if you can keep those Bibles still there, we're gonna go to Genesis chapter 39, verse 1.
Genesis 39 and chapter 1.
You can read the full thought, up into the full thought.
Okay, it said, and Joseph was brought down to Egypt.
Yeah, that was it right there. What Egypt means spiritually.
Okay, I mean, bondage. Egypt is, it was bondage of sin.
Yup.
King of sin. Well, not king of sin, but I know Egypt means sin, means bondage.
Yeah, we could just go with bondage.
Bondage, okay.
Yup, because that go with what we just read in Wisdom of Solomon 10 and 14. You still got that?
Got it.
So so the first line say, and left him not in bonds. Because, you know, it was wisdom that didn't forsake Joseph. He was the righteous that was sold and left him not in bonds. So when he went down into the pit, you know, into that bondage, she went with him, meaning the Spirit of God went with Joseph, the righteous. When Joseph was brought down to bondage, he wasn't left there because he became prosperous. You know, Jehovah never left him, and he still had wisdom within himself. So we're going to look at Genesis 39 and verse 2.
Okay.
And the Spirit of God was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. And he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. Verse 3. And his master saw that the Spirit of God was with him, and that the Spirit of God made all that he did to prosper in his hand. Okay, Joseph was a prosperous man because, you know, everything that he touched is going to be made prosperous just by him diligently hearkening unto the Spirit of God and never forsaking nor abandoning the Spirit of God. So just up until this point, you catching everything, or you know, anything we need to talk about or discuss, or anything that comes to your mind, questions or comments?
Well, right now, what I'm seeing is, as we're reading and learning that Joseph and Abraham situation got a similarity where they both was had to leave, was left from their home. You know, where it was called Abraham had faith in the Lord, and I know Joseph, because what his brother did to him out of jealousy and hate. They both was a Hebrew. They both had passed over. Um, also, they both kept and believed in the Most High God and the Spirit of God. They kept their faith in Him, and they kept His commandments, following Him.
Yes, sir.
So that's pretty much what I'm saying right now. That trust, faith, it was right there with them, and they kept it.
Yes, sir. I see the same thing. We're gonna get some more. We're gonna go to Genesis. You can so I'm tell you some of the books to hold on to. So you can hold on to this Genesis 39, verse 2 and 3, because we're gonna look at that along with Genesis chapter 49. Verse 22.
You see, Genesis 49 and what?
22.
49 and 22.
And then keep also Genesis 39, verse 2 and 3.
Okay,
All right, you got that?
I got it.
All right, so we're going to look at Genesis 49, verse 22. It reads,
Okay.
Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches run over the wall. So you know what that fruitful bow is? You know what a bow is?
Let me see this fruitful bowl. This, off the top of my head, no,
It's-
I don't off the top of my head.
Yeah, so a bow is a branch.
Okay.
So Joseph is a fruitful branch. When we look at Genesis 39, verse 2. Read up into the semicolon.
Okay. Genesis 39 and 2, it says, including the Spirit of God was with Joseph, and he was a prosperity man.
Yeah. So Joseph was a prosperous man. It's saying the same thing in Genesis 49. He a fruitful branch. Because, we got to abide in the true vine. Because we can't do nothing without abiding in the vine. That's how we produce fruits. So Joseph becoming this fruitful branch, because you know what fruit grows on? It grows on the branches, right?
Right.
So the branch is fruitful because Joseph is abiding in the vine. And we're going to see that. So Joseph, he was prosperous. He was made prosperous, made fruitful, because the Spirit of God was with Joseph. Because Joseph never forsook wisdom. So, and that's why she went down with him into the pit. So we see that Joseph, like you said, he had faith, he had trust and confidence. So with pertaining with this fruitful, we're gonna look at so we going from Genesis chapter 49, verse 22. So you can keep your finger there. And then you can go over here now to Genesis chapter 1.
Okay.
We're gonna look at verse 27 and 28.
Got it.
So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them. And God said unto them, be what?
Be fruitful and multiply.
Okay. Wasn't Joseph what in Genesis chapter 49, verse 22?
Is it Genesis 49:22?
Yes, sir. That first line, what is Joseph?
Let's see. Joseph is fruitful, brought,
Yep.
so he's in a fruitful brought out of a well.
Yep. That's what Joseph is. He a fruitful bow, meaning that branch. So keep in mind that bow is just speaking about a branch.
Okay.
Then we just see that God said, "Be fruitful."
You right?
So didn't Joseph hearken unto that? Because it say he a fruitful branch.
Yes, he did.
Yup. So right there we see in Genesis 1 and 28, when God gave wisdom unto them, unto the male and to the female, he said unto them, "Be fruitful." Joseph is a fruitful bow. So he hearkened. He trusted in the Spirit of God and everything that the Spirit of God has spoken. And that's why he was fruitful. So you can see how the words is connecting, and how we running through this study, gathering knowledge on it to see what is going on with this Hebrew. So God told mankind to be fruitful. Joseph hearkened and obeyed. Then God made him to prosper because of the agreement. We're going to go to John chapter 15.
You said John?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Got it?
We're going to read from verse 1 down. So you can read this.
Okay. John chapter 15 and 1. I am the true vine, including my Father is the husband. Verse 2. Every branch in me that bears not fruit, he'll take away. Every branch that bears fruit, he'll purge it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Verse 3. Now ye are clean through the word which I spoken unto you. Abide in me, I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye, except ye abide in me. Verse 5. I am the vine, and ye are the branch. He that abide in me, and I in him, the same bring forth much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. Verse 6. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered. Men gather them, and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If ye abide in me, and my word abide in you, you shall ask what you will, it shall be done unto you. Verse 8. Be in my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit, so shall you be my disciple.
All right, check
Verse
it.
9.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my bad. So yeah, it was from cause I got my screen and I don't see where where we reading up into. So yeah, that was John chapter 15, verse 1 through 8.
Okay.
So you see what it was talking about. It's talking about, the vine and the branches and this fruit. So in verse 2, it say, every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. So Joseph, being that fruitful branch, he was fruitful, so he was bringing forth fruit. And that fruit is speaking about what?
And fruit. Yes. When I see it, take that fruit in me. Fruit is a work.
Yes, sir.
About the work.
Yep. So them works Joseph was bringing forth. He was bringing forth works. So he was being that servant. We see right here in verse 4, it says, abide in me and I in you. As the branch, this bow cannot bear fruit of itself. So Joseph wasn't bearing fruit of himself because he had to be in the vine, meaning he couldn't have forsake wisdom. So he trusted and believed in the Spirit. And since he trusted and believed in the Spirit, he was bringing forth works, being this servant. So just as what we was reading earlier, that, Abram, he did not depart by himself because of himself. He departed because it was the Spirit of God that, spoke to him. And it was the Spirit of God that brought him forth out of the land of where he was into a different land. Same thing with every other Hebrew after that way. We not brought forth by ourselves out of what we were filthy in. Because verse 3 read, John 15:3, it says, now you are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. That's the only way we clean, is from the word. So when you keep in mind, bro, from Genesis chapter 49, verse 22, just for your personal study on Joseph, how he being this fruitful branch, it wasn't by himself that he was bearing fruit, because we see that all in Genesis chapter 15, verse 1-8. I'm going to read it again. I am the true vine, my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not works, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth works, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more works. Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear works of itself, except it abide in the vine, no more can you, except you abide in me. I am the vine. You are the branches. You are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much works. For without me you can do nothing. If a man abide in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered. And men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you shall ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father glorified, that you bear much works. So shall you be my followers, my disciples. So we see, based off of that reading, Joseph was only a fruitful bow, a fruitful branch, because he was bringing forth works because of that confidence and that trust that he had. We're going to go to Proverbs chapter 3, verse 26.
Proverbs 3:26.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Got it.
All right, you read it.
Okay. For the Spirit of God shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy desire from being taken away.
Yep. So we don't want that desire to be taken from us. We got to just trust and have that confidence and belief in what we know is sure, which the Spirit of God is all the trust that we need to have, as far as him just guiding us and directing our path, through the word. We're going to look at Psalms chapter 34. We're going to start at verse 1. Psalms chapter 34, verse 1. And I'll read this one.
So Psalm 34.
Verse 1. We're going to read down.
Okay, got it.
I will bless the Spirit of God at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make her boast in the Spirit of God. The humble shall hear thereof and be glad. O magnify the Spirit of God with me, and let us exalt his way together. I sought the Spirit of God, and he heard me and delivered me from all my fears. Okay, based off of that confidence, trusting in the Spirit of God, that fear we shouldn't even have, because we magnifying and exalting his way, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the Spirit of God that we exalt, because, we got that confidence in him.
Right.
So he delivers us from all of our fears. And, we can't have fear and confidence together, that don't even mix. So we see right here in verse 4. Read verse 4 again, bro.
Yes, sir. I sought the Spirit of God. He heard me and delivered me from all my fears.
Yep. So as long as we got that confidence in us, that fear is gonna just keep on diminishing. We shouldn't have it at all, and because he ain't give us the spirit of fear. You know that?
Yes, I do.
So let's go see it in 2 Timothy
2 Timothy.
chapter 1.
2 Timothy, verse 1
Verse 7.
and 7. Got it?
You can read it.
Okay. For God have not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind.
Yep. So we can't put the spirit of fear on God, saying that he gave us this woman. We can't do that. Meaning he gave us his spirit. Nah, we can't do that because he don't give us the spirit of fear. He give us, it says, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. He didn't give us the spirit of fear. So, what we just read in Psalms, he delivers us from fears. He don't give it to us. He don't give fears to us.
Right.
We can desire him, but we shouldn't be afraid, not when we got that trust and confidence in him. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, it do. Makes a whole lot of sense. You right.
Yup. We're going to go to Romans chapter 8.
Romans chapter 8.
Verse
Got it?
verse 15.
15. Got it.
All right, so we read, for you have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. So, that spirit of bondage, if we had that fear, that's going to keep us in our shell and in our cage. We ain't going to have that confidence to be able to talk of our God confidently, because we supposed to trust in him with all our heart, and just knowing that, having that trust in him, he gonna direct our path. We just gotta continually hearken, seek after him, and continually praise him and respect him. So he has not given us the spirit of fear, that's bondage. We can look at Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5.
Proverbs. Got it?
You can read that.
Okay. Proverbs 3 and 5. Trust in the Spirit of God with all thy heart. Lean not unto thy own understanding.
Yes, sir. Pretty self-explanatory. You know, we can look at Sirach. Sirach chapter 2.
Sirach chapter 2.
Verse 6 through 10.
Sirach 2, 6 through 10. Got it?
All right, you can read that, bro.
Okay. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright. Trust in him. Verse 7. Ye that fear the Creator, wait for his mercy. Go not aside, lest ye fall. Verse 9. Ye that fear the Creator, believe in him, and your reward shall not fail. Verse 9. Ye that fear the Creator, hope for good and for everlasting joy and mercy. Verse 10. Look at the generation of old and see, did ever any trust in the Creator was confounded? Did any abide in his fear was forsaken? Or whom did he despise that called it upon him?
All right, so you see all of these is questions.
Correct.
In verse 10, it says, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Creator and was confused? That's the first question. Or did any abide in his desire and was forsaken? That's another question. Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? So, you know, when we have that trust, faith, and belief and hope, and we call upon him, you know, with our whole desire, we ain't gonna be forsaken. You know, who was it that trusted in the Lord and was confused? You know, because it's saying look at the generations of old. So we looked at the generations of old. We seen the example with Abram and Joseph. Did any of them, either one of them brothers, did they ever trust in the Lord and was confused?
Nope, not neither one of them.
Neither one of them. Did any one of them that abided in his desire was forsaken?
Nope, not neither one of them.
Because we read that Joseph, when he was sold and he went down into the pit, didn't wisdom go with him?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, wisdom was with him. It remained with him because he never forsake wisdom himself. So he wasn't forsaken. So, you know, he wasn't confused. He knew how to move and operate because it was the Lord that was ordering and directing his steps. Same with Abram. He trusted and believed in the Lord. So he had that confidence. So I know, you know, based off of this study with us, we was looking at this confidence because not only yourself had received some confidence through the scripture, it was me also. So by us doing this study together, you know, it was beautiful because we can see and trust in that which we know is sure, which is the words out of this book. You know, I received confidence too, Brother Joseph, based off of going through these precepts and getting the understanding and studying it. You know, although we doing it together, we supposed to also do it in our own personal time, you know. And when I went and did some more searching after this word, you know, it was more that was shown to me. And I'm sure the same with you, you know, and through meditation and all of that, just keeping his word in my mind and heart, it was revealed unto me just more of these blessings that come down.
Right.
We're going to look at 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 19.
Got it.
All right, hold on to that one and then go to Psalms chapter 37. Verse 25.
So 27, 35.
Yeah, 37, verse 25.
Oh, 37, 25. Okay, got it.
All right, so we got to find out later who wrote this Psalms. Because I don't even know who wrote it. Because the one that wrote it says, I have been young and now am old. Yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. So that doctrine or that knowledge. So the righteous has never been forsaken, because the righteous is the one that's going to hold on to wisdom, and wisdom not going to forsake the righteous, because the righteous is the one that's going to be that fruitful bow that remain in the true vine. So, as long as we become this righteous, fruitful bow, and we hold diligently and steadfast in that which is sure, we ain't going to be forsaken neither. Second Peter chapter 1, verse 19. You could read the full thought up into the semicolon.
Okay. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy.
Yes, sir. So the word is sure. You know when something is sure. So okay, you remember one of the words that you said, confident mean or confidence?
Right.
So one of the words you had said was assurance.
Right.
Okay. We can have trust and belief in that which is sure. That's the assurance. So this word of prophecy is sure, meaning we can have trust in it because it ain't going nowhere. It's steadfast, so it's always going to remain truth. So we could trust in that which is truthful. So it was 2 Peter 1 and 19, we have also a more sure word of prophecy. Let's go to Revelation 1 and 3. We're going to see about this word of prophecy. Revelation chapter 1, verse 3.
Got it.
You can read it.
Okay. Blessed is he that read, they that hear the words of this prophecy. Keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand.
Okay, so wisdom is given to he that readeth. So we reading right now. We in the one book, and we reading and hearing the words of the prophecy of this book, because it's sure prophecy. This word is not false, it's all truth. So we got to hold on to what it is that we reading, for the time is at hand. So we're going to look at some more things about this prophecy. We're going to go to Revelation chapter 22. verse 7.
Got it?
All right, you can read it.
Okay, Revelation chapter 22 and verse 7 says, remember, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keeps the saying of the prophecy of this book.
So we got to keep the sayings of the prophecy of this book. The prophecy of this book is sure. So we should have confidence in the assurance of this word. We can trust in it. So we're going to go to verse 18. I'm going to read this one.
Okay.
Revelation chapter 22, verse 18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. Verse 19. And if any man shall take away from the words of the prophecy, the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things that are written in this book. So, Brother Joseph, ain't no need for me to add nor take away from the words of the prophecy of this book, because it's already had been written, and that's the assurance of the word, because it's already true. It's been true since the beginning. So we should have our confidence and trust in all of the words, just as we see Abram and Joseph, they hearkened. And that's why they were fruitful, and that's why they were prosperous, because they had that confidence and trust. So we read 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19. We're going to go to 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 20.
Let's see it. 2 Peter 1, 20. Got it?
You can read it.
All right. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation.
Exactly. So we still looking at this prophecy of the scripture and the words of the prophecy of this book. You know, it's not of any private interpretation, because, you know, this prophecy didn't come by the will of man, you know, flesh. You know, this book was written way before our time. So it ain't no need for us to add to it nor take away from it, so we can have that confidence and trust in it. And that's the assurance of this sure word. We're going to look at verse 21.
Okay.
For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Ghost. And then now we're going to look at Psalms chapter 19, verse 7.
Psalms 19 and verse 7.
Yes, sir. You can read that one.
The law of the Spirit of God is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Spirit of God is sure, making wise the simple.
Okay, so we see right here in this verse, the law of the Spirit of God is perfect. Ain't no need for me to add or take away anything to it. It's already perfect. Converting the soul. The testimony of the Spirit of God is sure. So the testimony of the Spirit of God is sure. Ain't no need for me to not trust in it. You know, that's that assurance I can have in it, the confidence I can have in it, because it's truthful and it's going to make me wise. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 2. We got a few more.
Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 2. Got it.
You shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Spirit of God, your guide, which I command you. So, Brother Joseph, the law of the Spirit of God is perfect and is not done away with. Without the law, my soul will not be converted from the error of my way. I need the law of the Spirit so that my soul may be corrected. I need it because I am simple and I need to be made wise. There's no need for me to add, neither diminish from the law. Everything spoken by the Spirit of God is law and truth. All the Spirit of God has spoken is perfect. So we're going to look at Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 9 and 10.
Got it.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 9. I'm going to read 9 and you read 10.
Okay.
And the Spirit of God, thy guide, will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For the Spirit of God will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers.
And Deuteronomy chapter 10. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 10. If thou should hearken unto the voice of the Spirit of God, thy guide, to keep his commandments, his statutes, which are written in this book of the law, and if thou turn unto the Spirit of the God, thy guide, with all thy heart, and with all thy soul.
Okay, you see what that's saying, right? That's speaking to us right now.
Yes, it is.
So verse 9 and 10, it reads, and the Spirit of God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand. That's only if we hearken unto his voice. So you remember when Joseph was made prosperous?
All right.
Remember when we read that earlier? So let's backtrack to that real quick. So Joseph was prosperous. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 39, verse 2.
You got it.
And the Spirit of God was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. Why? Because we just read it in Deuteronomy, where we just left off at. Deuteronomy 30 and 9. The Spirit of God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand. So in Joseph's hand, he was made plenteous. So he was prosperous from his hand, from his power, from the work of his power. So he was this fruitful bow, meaning he was putting in work. He was that fruitful branch, producing fruit, producing works. That's when he hearkened unto the voice of the Spirit of God. So he had that confidence and faith in what he can trust, which is the law that was written out of this book. So he didn't add to it nor diminish from it. It was no need to, because the law was perfect. It is perfect, and the law converts the soul. We just read that in Psalms 19 and 7. It reads, the law of the Spirit of God is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Spirit of God is sure, making wise the simple. So the only way we could be made wise is from the word, from the law, from the truth. And we shouldn't add to it nor take away from it. So the law was never done away with. We're going to look at Psalms chapter 19, verse 8.
Psalms 19 and 8, got it.
The statutes of the Spirit of God are right. Rejoice in the heart. The commandment of the Spirit of God is pure, enlightening the understanding. The desire of the Spirit of God is clean, enduring forever. The judgments, the doctrine, and the teachings of the Spirit of God are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them is a great reward. So, we warned by the doctrine and the teachings. We be warned every day. It's a warning unto us. If we doing error, we gotta get that out of us. We gotta straighten up. So, we warned being a servant, and we should hold on to the doctrine and the teachings that come from it, because it's to help us and to correct us. So this is the last verse right here, in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8.
Okay. You got it?
You can read that.
Okay. Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Finally, brother, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report. If there be any virtue, if there be any praises, think on these things.
Okay. So we ended it with this verse, my brother, because we want to think on these things, the true things, the honest things, the things that are just and pure, the things that are lovely and of good report. We want to think on these things. So as we went through this study together, we want to think on all of the precepts, of seeing about this confidence and trust. So the pure things that we would think about is what we just read in Psalms. I don't know if you had caught that. When we was in Psalms chapter 19 and verse 8.
What's the pure thing? So 19, let's see. Verse 8. Okay, the status is it Psalm 19 and 8?
Yes, sir.
The status is okay. I got that.
So which one is pure? What's pure?
Okay, and the commandment of the Lord, the pure is lightning of the understanding, enlightening of the understandings.
Yes, sir. So just what we read in Philippians, it said, whatsoever things are pure. So the commandments of the Lord is pure. So these are things we want to think on. We want to think on these precepts, meditate on it, and if more of his wisdom come to you, you want to write it down, because, that will be taking you deeper in his study. And we want to eat and learn, based off of just being in this agreement with the Most High.
Right.
Yes, sir. So anything you want to add to it, or anything you want to say?
I just want to say tonight, during this study, I gradually, felt my confidence increasing, and there is a part that we came across that really boosted even more, because I knew, but saying it again helps also. When it's saying fear is not something that was given to us, so it's a spirit was not given to us by the Most High, and it's He only give us is what we get from Him is just His understanding, His knowledge, and His understanding. So that's like your spirit that you got it, you picked it up. Wherever you picked it up, it ain't right. You have to work on getting rid of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. Yep. And that was just for your memory. You know, that was 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 7.
Oh, great.
Yes, sir. For God has not given us the spirit of fear. So yeah, man.
Right.
Yep. So yeah, bro. Once again, man, it was always great doing this with you, man, and having this dialogue with you. And I'm glad that both our confidence is boosting just based off of us sharing this brotherly love, man. So until next time, shalom and peace, my brother.